Hello, my name's David Seaman, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. I hope I find you well. Now, as I'm sure you are aware, England's Lionesses have made the final of the 2025 European Championships, and that is what we'll be looking at here. But before we get on to the hows, the whos and the whens, I just wanted to throw this combination of statistics at you. The Lionesses, as has been well documented, have made the Euro finals of 2022 and 2025, of course winning it in 22. The World Cup final of 2023. Add this to our senior men who made the Euro finals of 2021 and 2024. Let's also add our under-21 young Lions of 2023 and 2025, both European Championships winners. How about our under-19 young Lions, Euro winners in 2017 and more recently 2022? This, I think, is pretty convincing evidence that the St George's Park project is now bearing some rather ripe fruit. Coming up, I'll be once again joined by Steve Hopper, who's been out and about in Switzerland. I think the last episode I went through all the quarterfinals but didn't manage to cover the Germany-France game in Basel. France, one of the favourites, in fact Steve Hopper's favourite, weren't they? Well, they went out. The game finishing 1 apiece. Quite the game. Germany being reduced to 10 players, but it was eventually decided on penalties. Germany winning 6-5. So that left us with 2 semi-finals. Italy and ourselves in Geneva, which we'll come to soon, and Spain against Germany in Zurich. A game that, well, was quite entertaining. Despite the lack of goals, it went to extra time. It was Bonmati who got the decisive goal, squeezing the ball between Berger in the German goal and her post. A quick word actually on Anne-Katrin Berger, previously at Birmingham and Chelsea. She's now at Gotham FC in the States. I think it's been a tournament that has enhanced the reputation of goalkeepers in the women's game. Berger's save against France was superb. There's no other words for it. It was amazing. Spain's Catacol, her similar double save against Germany. Hannah Hampton as well. Sweden's Jennifer Falk, Italy's Laura Giuliani, all deserve a mention. But back to Berger. She twice overcame thyroid cancer. Quite the resilience. And she's also, if you didn't know, she's in a relationship with our own Jess Carter. Which brings me on to something else. Something totally different, sadly. Before the Italy game, Carter announced on social media that she had received quite the amount of racist abuse. Obviously, the team stood together in support of her, as did the Lionesses fans, as did England fans. I don't want to dwell too much on it here, but here we are in 2025 and racism is still an ongoing problem, be it in football or general society. I'm going to say this once only. If you're considering abusing someone on social media behind a faceless account, just stop. Put your phone down. Just go out, smell the air, have a think about things. Let's catch up once again with Steve Hopper, who's joined us throughout the tournament to share his experiences. Steve, welcome back.
Good afternoon, Ross. So I nearly slipped into saying good morning.
Yeah, we are speaking the day before the final. It's just turned midday. As I say, last time we spoke, well, you were waiting to hear whether your accreditation would take you to the semi-final. Tell us how it went.
And it did. It
Ah,
did take me to the semi-final, all the way back to Switzerland. It was quite a 24 hours, massive, very, very quick turnaround it was. I flew out there in the morning of Tuesday. I think I had to get up about 6 o'clock in the morning, or a bit earlier than that. I flew out directly to Zurich, not directly to Geneva, which is where, of course, the game was.
of course, yeah.
And then I made the decision to do that, which do I regret it? No, I don't regret it, but I had to get a train, many trains and many buses all the way from Zurich down to Geneva, which took about 3.5 to 4 hours. So that was a hell of a day. As soon as I got off the train, the final train in Geneva, they were minutes away from starting the fan walk, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay. And it was all crazy. Then it was straight off to the game, and then it was I didn't get back until very, very late. Thank you very much, Lionesses, for that, because of the extra time. Thought it was going to be an easier night, and it wasn't. Never is. Supporting England, as we know. So I didn't get back to the hotel till 1:30, I think it was. Slept got to sleep about 2:00. Had to get up at 6:30. So that I could get my flight back. I had to get a 2-legged flight. So I had to go get a flight from Geneva back to Zurich, and then back from Zurich to London. So I don't know why I do it to myself. Why?
Well, first of all, you mentioned there the fan walk, and I've heard throughout the tournament, I've seen various pictures and video, various fans take part in this fan walk. Tell us what it's about, what it's like.
Wow. I mean, it's one of the most thrilling experiences, I think, that I've participated in as a fan, aside from obviously watching England be successful in tournaments or get through penalty shootouts and all the rest of it. Outside of a match is one of the most thrilling experiences, because you're very united. You're walking towards the stadium in unison. And there's something very special about that. It's like a ring walk almost,
Right.
But as fans, and it's a real celebration. And there's a lot of chanting, obviously, and singing, and there's the band. And it's great. It does feel, you feel very connected. I think, obviously I was doing it from a presenter point of view, so it was very different because I was filming, and so I wasn't as connected as I would be as a fan. I wasn't quite as present because I was trying to get the best spot and everything else to film. But I can imagine as a fan walking down in my England shirt and just celebrating that moment, especially when you're on the way to a semi-final. You're surrounded by people of similar ilk. You are around your people, your tribe, if you like. Yeah. It's very tribal. You're walking down, and it's lovely. It's a really nice feeling. And I mean, it was a very hot day. So it was quite a warm experience as well. It was a good sort of 20-minute walk, I think, if not a little bit more, to the stadium. But thousands and thousands of fans all joining together.
Are these all different types of fans? Like, as if with this between England and Italian fans?
It was mainly England fans. So there were two separate walks. Right. So they all kind of met in the middle. So you had one section which were Italian. You had one section which were England. And then there was this kind of like square in the middle of both. So they were segregated. And then maybe I didn't see what happened with the Italians. Maybe they went a separate direction. I'm guessing that was what happened. Yeah. There were a couple of Italians who were on the same walk as the England walk, and I'm guessing they got caught up in the wrong bit. And I think that's the right way to do it as well, because it's, and then they meet in the middle, which is quite nice. But I'd like to see more of this. I think it's a really positive thing to be doing. Apparently they do it in the domestic game as well. in the domestic women's game.
Yeah.
It's not something I've seen before. I think a fan told me that they do it with Arsenal. The Dutch are well known for doing things like this. They have their own bus. The Germans,
I've seen that, yeah.
yeah, I love it. I think it's really good fanfare. You're really making an occasion of it. You're making, it's an event. It's a big event, and you're really adding to it. And I think that kind of thing is brilliant. I want to see as much of that kind of stuff as possible when it comes to international games, men or women. I'd love to see that in the men's game where people are walking all together. More of that, please. It's a beautiful sight.
Oh, good stuff. We shall see if it brings itself, more of that into the game. So obviously you were there for the semi-final, England against Italy. I think pre-game, a lot of people were confident of England getting through, which ultimately they did. But it was a game, wasn't it?
It was. I thought it was going to be a lot easier. A lot of fans thought it was going to be a lot easier. I had my money on 3-1. Okay. A lot of fans felt that it was going to be a 3-1 win. Didn't expect to keep a clean sheet. Expected a lapse of concentration. We've seen it all throughout the tournament and in the last couple of years. So expected them to get one goal, but expected to tie it up within 90 minutes. Thought that it was going to be a fairly straightforward run to the final. And obviously, never count your chickens when it comes to England.
Very true.
This always happens. So, yeah, it didn't occur as we thought it would. Obviously, it was dramatic. We didn't play well. We did not play well. The Italians deserved more from that game. Yes, there was a lot of time wasting and so on, but you're going to do that if you're an underdog. And if it was us, we wouldn't complain about doing that either. If that was us, if we were trying to get to our first final and, in 30, 40 years.
I think the Italians are, with the greatest of respect, are renowned for that. It's something we should have expected.
Yep, they are. They are, most definitely. They play a psychological game. Yeah. If I'm being kind, we'll call it that. If I'm being brutal to them, do we call it cheating? I don't know. It depends what cheating means. Is it cheating to do certain things, to exploit the rules as much as you can? I'll leave that open to debate. I think it depends. But I think, you're going to do everything you can in your power as an underdog to try to take more advantages. And I don't, to be honest, I'm split in the middle of it, but I think, I see both sides of it. I think they deserved better. I felt sorry for the Italians. I think they deserved to go through, in all honesty. But as they always say, who's arguing when you're English? So yeah, very dramatic by the end. Yeah,
well, Serena Wiegmann, as she's done throughout the tournament, has made the substitutions. We spoke about that before. She done it again. She brought on Michelle Agiman. She brought on Chloe Kelly. Agiman, we're in injury time, weren't we, when she's equalised there? What was it like in the stadium when she put that in?
I have no idea, because I was in the mix zone. Oh. So you have this situation where you have to make decisions. So I was all over the stadium. I was just all over the place during that semi-final. I mean, I spent most of the first half in my press seat. Right. Very luxurious, very nice. Obviously, you're in your own little box and all the rest of it. And you have a fantastic view of the pitch, as you need to. But I sat there and I was like, man, I'm so disconnected. This is just not. They say I didn't need to be sat there, because that's not. I'd done all the bits that I needed to do. Yeah. Prior to the game, all the bits of filming. I haven't got to write my article until afterwards for the company that I'm working for with that. So I was like, this isn't working. I don't want to be sat here. So half time, I go down. I bumped into Jill Scott actually at half time, which was really lovely. I'll come on to that in a second. But I went down to the fans. I was like, I just need to be in amongst the fans. This is, I need to be connected, because first and foremost, I am an England fan, not a presenter. That's my first love. The presenting always comes second to me. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the fans, and I managed to get some footage, and I did a little bit of interviewing down in the fans, which is great. Benefits obviously of having your press pass, because you can sort of roam around fairly freely. So I went and sat down there, did a little bit of interviewing, and I was sat there for a while, and it was like, this isn't working. Like, nothing's happening. They're not getting any opportunities. And I kept looking at the time, and I was like, when do I need to move? Because I'm going to have to make a decision at some point, because you've got to be in the mix zone early. You've got to get there before the end of the game. You have to be there in a few minutes before. So I sat there waiting as long as I could. And I just looked at the time, and I just thought, you're going to have to bite the bullet. And as I walked away, I was just thinking to myself, probably going to equalise. This is England, right? So I go to the mix zone with another journalist, and we're talking, and we're on our way over, and it's in a car park. Fans will be able to see footage of this. I'm going to be releasing all the behind the scenes stuff coming over the next few weeks, so people can see what it's exactly like behind the media, if you like. But yeah, we go to this big car park where essentially the mixed zone is being held. And as we're walking over, I'm just saying, it's going to happen. Like, you just know it. You're going to know they're going to score. It's going to be in the dying seconds, and they're going to get an equaliser. We're going to be stood here, and we're going to have to go, and we're going to be walking back for extra time. I'm literally saying it. So we get there, and there's actually no screen there, so we can't watch it. So sometimes there have been screens up, so you can actually watch the game. But we're stood in the mix zone, and we've got a couple of other journalists watching it on their phone. What's even more frustrating is that there's a lag behind the screens in the media portals, the media hubs and stuff. So you're actually a little bit far behind when you're watching it on TV anyway, and you have to listen to the crowd. So we're in the mix zone, and they're watching it on the phone, and there's a lag behind, so they're not actually up to date. And you just hear the crowd erupt. And I said, England have scored, and these other journalists were unsure. And I said, no, that's definitely England. Listen, I said, trust me. I said, after following England for 30 odd years, the sound of your crowd, right? Because some of these were foreign press as well. And I said, first of all, there were more English fans in the stadium than Italians. So I said, that should tell you something. I said, secondly, listen to the chanting. So I could tell straight away. And I was so irritated. One, because I wasn't in the stadium watching it. Two, because I knew that I'd have to go back, and then I'd have to try and reset, and then I'd have to go back again for the mix zone and everything else. And there's definitely a sacrifice. It's not as glamorous as people think. So and also I was very well aware of the fact that I had to get a very early flight the next morning. So I was going, great, thank you, Lionesses, for making this really difficult, because now I'm going to get even less sleep. So yeah, we went back, and I went back to the stadium, and I was like, right, I'm not moving until England wrap this up. I didn't move until the sort of last couple of minutes, until the end of the game, when I was certain that we'd wrapped it up and we'd won the game.
You'd seen Chloe Kelly hit the rebound in.
Yeah, we saw the rugby tackle. What a daft move that was by the Italians.
Strange, yeah.
Very strange. I mean, it was a desperate plea, wasn't it? A desperation move. But to do that in the box was just, I mean, again, feel sorry for her, because she's going to be, she'll be replaying that over in her mind for donkey's years. Like, to do that, and it was a Stonewall penalty. And you just knew, you thought she was probably going to bury it, but to be honest, I sat there and I thought it's going in regardless. So she did a Harry Kane, actually, because Harry Kane did the same thing in the semi-final in the men's tournament back in 2021 for the Euro 2020, where he missed.
Against Denmark, yes.
Against Denmark, he missed and followed up. Chloe Kelly did the same thing. Yeah. She missed, followed up. She pounced on it quicker than anybody else. You just felt like it was going to be our night after the equaliser in the stoppage time of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, kind of knocked the stuffing out of Italy.
Oh, it does, and it would do. Yes. When you are when you're an underdog, and the fact that you let that equaliser come in when you are 1 minute away from being in the final, it's incredibly difficult, almost impossible to come back from that. Yeah. And they didn't. You're right, the stuffing got knocked out and England dominated the extra time, and it did feel like only a matter of time before they were going to take it. There's that, it's the quality, it's the experience. Cream rises to the top, or Chloe Kelly rises to the top.
Hasn't she just? Yeah,
she has. She has indeed.
So you went back to the mix zone, I take it. Tell us what happens in the mix zone.
So, as I said, you got to get there in advance. Obviously I waited until the very last minutes, and I was kind of thinking, damn, and I had to rush back because it was quite a distance. I had to walk right round the stadium because I was in K, I think it was row K, something like that, or section K, which was where the predominant England fans, it was kind of like the home end, I think, was pretty much there. So I had to walk all the way round the other side of the stadium to get back to the mix zone. So I had to do that. I think I had to go back to the media hub to get some of my equipment as well. Then I had to go straight to there, and I knew that I was sort of buying time, but I thought, I'm probably not going to get a good space now. But luckily I did get an okay space. It's a lot of hustle and bustle, especially at that stage of a competition. It gets slightly earlier in the group stages. It was a little bit easier to have a better position and to get and to be able to grab players. I'm quite loud anyway, so I was able to get certain players before, but this was proper hustle and bustle, very, very difficult. Again, I did behind the scenes footage, so you'll be able to see that in the coming days of what it's like. But it's incredibly difficult. It's difficult for media, difficult for fans. And when you are little old me, who essentially I am, essentially an independent, sat there or stood there, and you've got the likes of, TalkSport, BBC, ITV, and a lot bigger networks that stood there. It's really difficult to get that attention that you need. And I'm also someone that likes to get different types of questions in. I don't like to ask the standard questions. So a lot of media will have their microphones, and they on this occasion they all sort of bunch together, and they all just put their microphone in. People may have seen it when they've got on when they've watched interviews before. You have multiple microphones,
yes,
because they try to get their branding in. Obviously, they want to get their own questions in, but it's almost like a consolation prize. If you can get your microphone in and you've got the branding, then you've got that on show in the video. So it's a good thing for branding purposes. That for me isn't an issue with the companies I'm working for right now, and for my own stuff, of course. So there was no branding on show, and I was only interested in getting the questions and asking direct questions that I wanted to ask. I did get a couple of players, luckily. I spoke with Alessia Russo, that was the first one. So I spoke with her, and I basically just asked her about how does she shut the noise out, essentially, with these situations when you go through the ups and the downs. That's on TikTok right now, so you'll be able to watch that. Cheap little plug.
Yeah.
So that's on there. That's done well, as you can imagine. All the interviews that I've done, they all go really well because people get the insight. But yeah, I asked those different questions, and also who else did I speak to? I spoke to Aggie Beaver-Jones, who will be. I haven't released that yet, but I will be releasing that. I did a short question with her. Just asked her about what it was like, what she thought her 12-year-old version of herself would think right now, her situation. So yeah, I like to ask those type of questions. But yeah, it's an incredible experience, but it's not like what you think it would be. As a fan, it's very different. And if you're an England fan, if you're a fan of the team, it's just a very different experience. And that's my kind of experience of it. I have done this before, but of course never at a major tournament, and being in that scenario, I don't think it's ticked the boxes that I necessarily thought it would, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, interesting. We'll look out for those videos when they arrive, and I'll link to them as and when I see them. But the following day, your favourites, who we mentioned in the last episode, France, succumbed to Germany.
Yeah.
and Germany made their way to the semi-final against Spain. Spain obviously then beat them in what was quite a very good game, I thought. So means we've come to the final once again. England against Spain. It's a repeat of the 2023 World Cup final. How do you see this going?
I got a number of things wrong this tournament. I'm not going to lie.
It's a learning process.
It is. Well, you can never really predict. This is the thing with tournament football. You just can't predict it. I mean, when you look at it, if you look at it back in hindsight, England-Spain final makes sense. It's quite poetic. You've got two real top teams. You've got the best team in the world versus, the world champions versus the European champions. Once again, on paper, makes sense. But I don't think anybody really thought that England were going to get to the final because of their previous form recently. I think a lot of and also through the tournament, they haven't looked like a team that's going to get to the final. They've just gritted it out, haven't they? And I think that, I was one of those that said probably going to see England knocked out in the group stage. So, my predictions, happily, I'm happy to say my prediction there was completely undone. The only thing I really got right was Wales being dominated in the in the group stage and being knocked out there. But aside from that, England have done the job. They've got themselves to another final, third in a row.
Which would have been the objective.
Absolutely. Serena Wiegmann, fifth final in a row in her career. Obviously working with the Dutch previously. So unbelievable manager. One of the greatest managers of all time, clearly. And obviously she's doing the business for England. So we're there. I do expect a Spain win. This is Spain's first European final ever. And I think look, again, you never can tell, again, obviously with tournament football and the way things pan out. But I can't see England overturning them. Spain are an incredible force. The only thing that can be done is that Germany definitely had Spain's number throughout the game in terms of how to block opportunities. Germany's formation, they had 5 across the middle, and they made it a midfield game for large parts of that. And they really thwarted Spain's attempts. Spain had a 4-3-3.
And I think just to add to that, as did Switzerland in the first half when they played them in their quarter-final, I believe.
Yeah. Yes. So there is a way to frustrate the Spanish and the Spanish attack. The Spaniards will come all out. I don't expect to change. I expect them to stick with a 4-3-3 because it's what works for them. It fits well. I think it depends on their personnel and who's injured, who's not, and so on. But it generally works with their personnel for a 4-3-3. We will probably do something very, very similar. I don't expect us to do anything that the Germans did, which may be an error because I think we're not the Germans. We don't play like the Germans, so maybe it's not an error. But I just feel that we have to be very smart and we need to play clever. Otherwise, we're gonna leak goals against a Spanish side. We've leaked goals this tournament against much lesser sides than the Spanish, and if we're not careful, then we're gonna have some problems, and we need to be very cautious of that. We could end up in a very similar situation to what France did to us in the first game, obviously to what Sweden did to us, and then it's good night Vienna, or good night I should say good night Basel.
Basel.
But I think that I'm expecting to see something similar to what happened to us in the first game against France, and I think we might go 2-1 down in 90 minutes. That's my prediction.
I think it is worth mentioning some of those players. We obviously know all the English players, but the Spanish, they've got, obviously Bonmati is a fantastic player, and it's amazing that she overcame was it viral meningitis, I think, at the start of the tournament to to bring herself up to full fitness and play a part in that semi-final in the way that she did and scored. She's such a danger player. You've got Caldente as well. There's so many great players across that Spanish 11. And one thing that does play on my mind with regards to Spain, and it goes back to the 2023 final, is obviously what happened after the final. I'm sure the vast majority will know. I don't want to touch too deeply on it, but I kind of wonder if Spain felt that their victory was tainted by that Rubiales scandal, and they didn't get the chance to celebrate in the way that they may have wanted to. I know they've won the Nations League since, but I wonder if they kind of want to put that to bed and sort of really win it this time in style.
Well, it's an interesting point. I'm not sure how they would feel or how they felt since. I think that maybe they've probably, since the dust has settled, maybe they've, they are respected as the world champions, and you make a good point about how the immediate aftermath was dominated by that story. So you're absolutely right. It was tarnished to a degree. There was something useful, I think, in that aftermath, in what happened, because it brought to light about how certain behaviours are unacceptable in life. So it was almost an unwanted sacrifice by the Spanish team to bring something to attention to the world about how people sometimes behave. Yeah. And I think that was useful to some degree, but it definitely, you're right, it tainted their immediate aftermath of their victory. And it's people weren't speaking about how great how great the Spanish were. They weren't speaking about how great the Spanish were and how they were world champions. They were talking about that kiss. So you're right. There will be some element, I suppose. Maybe I'm sure they're professional enough that they won't even be talking about it. They won't probably be even using it as motivation. They won't need to.
Yeah, no.
Their motivation is completely focused and fixed on becoming double, triple champions. In all the if you include the Nations League, the major trophies. Yeah. They will. I mean, they want to do what the Spanish men did back in the late noughties. They want to dominate, and they want to prove that they are the best in the world, the best in Europe. They want to beat England once again to prove that Spain are well deserving of their number one ranked position. I think they will probably do it, to be honest. But I hope they don't. Of course, I'm just being wise. I'm no longer the 9-year-old version of myself that thinks that only focuses on the only result I truly want. I have to be a little bit impartial. Not impartial. That's not the word. I will never be impartial, but considerate of reality. We'll call it that.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, England, it looks like are going to have to do it without Lauren James. I think it'll probably be decided tomorrow. It might even be decided hours before the game. But it's certainly a selection headache for Serena Weidman. And Lauren James has had a fairly positive tournament, hasn't she?
I don't think she's had the best tournaments.
Not the best, but I think she's showed moments of what she's capable of.
Oh, she showed moments of what she's capable for sure, because when she gets on that ball, it's magnetic, as I've said before, and she's exemplary in football. She is one of the greatest talents in the world, and her skill is beyond measure. It's incredible. So I think, given what we've seen throughout the tournament, it isn't the biggest loss in a final. I think that we can most certainly overcome it. When you consider the likes of Chloe Kelly and and the rest. I think it's something we've got an opportunity with. We haven't relied on Lauren James, have we?
No, that's true.
Agyemang has been coming on and created as much buzz as Chloe Kelly has, and those two have done what 2022 did for Alessia Russo and Toon. It was, they are the duo this tournament, and so I don't think she's the biggest loss. She most certainly would have been a starter, and it does open the doors. I do wonder whether Agyemang or Chloe Kelly will they be selected in the first 11 if something like that occurs, or will they still be left to the bench? Will she'll obviously have to alter her formation, her game plan to some degree if Lauren James can't be picked. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's any situations there. But it is a shame because we want to see the best, and we want to see Lauren James on the pitch in the final and being at her best and being able to do something magic. But maybe this isn't her year once again, unfortunately, for that. But we'll see. Yeah, yep. You never know. She might come good by the 12th hour, the 11th hour, whatever it's called.
Be one of Serena's substitutes this time around. So last time before the semi-final, you got the call to go out there. Are you expecting a call this time?
No. Oh. I'm not expecting a call this time. I ruled myself out of the final, much like Lauren James. I've declared myself unfit. Not quite unfit, but I've done what I needed to do. And, I mentioned earlier, I had a chat with Jill Scott at halftime, bumped into her. She was actually queuing up for a burger or something. And it was really nice to see her. It was just what I needed, because this whole journey for me has been a journey of I was going to say two halves, but it really has, because I've been in so many professional and personal mindsets throughout the tournament. I've achieved something I've always wanted to achieve, which is being accredited for a major tournament, and it's been a long 10 years of trying to do things that I've wanted to do, and supporting the Lionesses and traveling around the world with them and the men's team, of course. And, I've seen things from both sides, and it's all come full circle. And there've been a lot of ups and downs for me throughout that process. But I bumped into Jill Scott, and she was so pleased to see me. And that was really lovely. Yeah. Because she saw me. Right. So it was like this validation that I kind of needed. Like, she remembered. I haven't seen her since 2021 or something. And the fact that I used to interview her quite a lot back in the day. And the fact that she had this memory, and because she was pleased to see me, and she showed it, and we had a brief chat for a while about things and old times and stuff. And it was just what I needed to feel seen and to feel validated. And it kind of made me think, she was just there she was there as a fan. She was sat in the stands with the fans, and it was really nice. And it helped me reconnect with myself a little bit, which is the fan in me. Yeah. And tomorrow I'm going to be a fan. I've done what I needed to do with the tournament. I did have the opportunity to apply for accreditation for the final, to head out there, to do more, but my advisor, one of my advisors, said to me, like, you've done your bit. And he said, you've had your final, you've won your tournament. Like, now it's time for the Lionesses to go and play their final. And I quite like the poetic way they'd said it. And for me, I'm going to be watching it with my family. We're going to have a special tea. We're going to put the England shirts on and everything else. And it's come full circle. And I'm going to really appreciate that. I think sitting at home and watching it on TV, and just going back to what it might have been like in my childhood, watching something like this. And I think it's a really nice thing to do. You don't always need the glitz and the glamour and the adventures. Yeah. This is, for me, is an adventure in itself. Being able to sit there with my family and watch it. So really looking forward to that.
Wow. Nicely put. And in that respect, I hope the Lionesses win it win it for you.
Thank you.
But what I would do want to say is thank you for sharing your experiences and just giving the other side of how working at a tournament can be. It's been really appreciated. I know it's been appreciated by the listeners.
Lovely. You're very welcome. It's always a pleasure. I look forward to updating you on my next journey. World Cup 26.
Let's do it. Let's put it in the diary.
Yes, absolutely.
Steve, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Russell.
Thank you very much to Steve Hopper there for his time and throughout the whole tournament. It's been really enjoyable, as I said there, to hear what it's like from a journalist perspective. He's not there taking in every single minutiae of detail that we as fans maybe do, but he's keeping an eye on how the game pans out and what he needs to do with regards to his job. So yeah, thank you very much to Steve for that, for explaining it to us. And don't forget, you can follow him. He's got his website, Steve Hopper TV. You can find him on YouTube. He's on Twitter as well, Instagram. He mentioned TikTok, didn't he? Go find him on all of those. Also, he's working for sportstalkunited.com. You can go and read his reviews over there, sportstalkunited.com. And like he said, he'll be watching the game at home with the family, as will I. The game has kindly coincided with a family event in the Osborne household. So happy birthday to my sister Jo. We will be all hopefully getting around the TV to watch it all together. That should be interesting. See my daughter watch it, see my nieces watch it all together. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the previous episodes as well. If you've missed any of them, they can be found at your podcast provider of choice or freelionspodcast.com. Don't forget, you can get in touch with the show any way you like, usually through either the social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just search 3 Lions Podcast. Or you can email me, 3lionspodcast@gmail.com. Always great to hear from you. So it leaves me just to say all the very best to the Lionesses and to Serena Wiegmann. If you are watching the game out there in Switzerland, safe journey to you, either going or coming back. Yeah, if you're coming back, come back with that trophy. So until the next time, take care of yourselves. Cheers.